What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's Kush back at it again with another New York Giants update video. Not many updates this week. For the entire week, been a slow one in terms of news, but I hope you guys enjoyed the Knicks and Giants We Need to Talk video that I put out on Monday, and then late Wednesday night, technically Thursday morning, very early in the morning, the mock draft 3.0 is also wide. If you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check it out. But today I just wanted to talk about two things. One of them was from the Dave Gettleman / Kevin Abrams press conference, and another is from an article on Giants Wire about how the Giants assistant coaches are helping them out in the weird, well, not the only weird, this is the second weird COVID offseason in a row where the players and the coaches and the scouting staff and all that are not exactly allowed to interact as much as they usually would be. So teams are not getting the most accurate information and whatever measurements and numbers they need to get from these players as they would have gotten in a normal offseason, you know, where they're allowed to meet with them, where they're allowed to have a combine and all of that type of things. So of course, as we all know, the Giants coaching staff is primarily made up of a bunch of former college coaches, very recent college coaches too. I think I don't know if there's a percentage to it, but we're like 90% former college coaches, and I would say we have one of the highest percentages of former college coaches as current coaches on our roster, which helps out the Giants a lot. And this was something we knew about last year as well. Of course, when Gettleman hired Judge, and then Gettleman and Judge put together the coaching staff, a lot of them had connections to Joe Judge, mostly through his former work in the SEC and his former work at Alabama. A lot of them had connections through Joe Judge, through the Patriots as well, and then some of them are coming from places like Georgia and Tennessee. Some of them were just recently defensive and offensive coordinators at those schools, meaning that not only were they recruiting high school players that became the college athletes and, you know, building their teams over there, but they were directly coaching them and directly involved in what makes those players tick, what makes them succeed, what makes them fail, all of that. In particular, at least according to Giants Wire, Sean Spence, Coach Chaos from Penn State. Of course, he was the former defensive line coach at Penn State. And Jeremy Pruitt, one of the most recent defensive hires we made, from Tennessee, where he was the head coach at Tennessee, and then he was a defensive coordinator at Bama, Georgia, and FSU. Of course, Bama, Georgia, and Tennessee are, in my opinion, more important to us, because at Tennessee, when he was the head coach, he worked with our inside linebacker coach in Kevin Sherr, and when he was the DC at Georgia, he had worked with certain edge rushers that the Giants have on their roster and the ones that they might be looking at right now. But why are these two names the specific ones the article talks about? It makes a lot of sense when you consider the whole Micah Parsons situation and Sean Spence. Of course, we've all said it for a while. If there's anybody that could give us more and, you know, some accurate information on Micah Parsons, it will be one of the guys that coached him at Penn State University, and we have him on the roster in Sean Spencer. And we already know that Sean Spence has helped the Giants out with scouting, of course. You know, when you look at guys like Cam Brown, and to be fair, the Giants have drafted not a lot but a good amount of PSU players over the past 3 years. And well, the deal basically is we all think that Sean Spence has had some say on the Micah Parsons situation for the Giants. He's definitely told them the kind of person he was when Spence was their coach, and he's definitely told them how dedicated he is to the game, what his work ethic is like, how he interacts with the other players, you know, stuff that, you know, may dissuade them from drafting him, or maybe, which I think the second one is more likely, something that might ease their concerns about the player that Micah Parsons is and whether or not he fits with the Giants and how he can do as a potential edge rusher for the Giants. And then with Pruitt, because he was literally just coaching at the college level, he's bringing all type of insights in terms of these college players that are coming out now, because he was just there with them. He's bringing a different outlook, a coaching outlook for the scouts to work with, since once again, they don't really have that information that they used to have. So whether or not he's giving us information on guys that played at Tennessee, because of course that's who he would know, you know, the best, he can still give us information on guys that he might have tried to get to come to Tennessee, guys that was his opponents in the games, which is something I don't think a lot of people, you know, maybe that popped into their mind or anything. For example, Ole Miss, Bama, Georgia, Pittsburgh, like these teams right here, man, they are going to have a good scouting report on these teams, so to speak, or the players, so to speak, because Pruitt was going up against them year in, year out. And now a couple of quotes from the article. This one's from Gelman. He said, "Very helpful," said Gelman, when asked what value having former college coaches on the team staff. And they've known these guys, they've touched these guys, which we unfortunately haven't been able to do as much, so it's quite helpful. Chris Pettit agreed. He and his staff have been handcuffed by the COVID restrictions as well as opt-outs. For those that don't know, Pettit is the head of scouting for the Giants. He said, "We go back when some of these guys were recruited. They may not have gone to certain colleges, but these guys recruited them, so they gave us another look and another view when they were in high school in the recruiting process." But again, the scouts also can work with the coaches from another angle, so you can get all different opinions and we finally come to a group decision. And that's just guys on the defensive side so far. Another guy that I know you guys know I like is Rob Sale, our new offensive line coach, who was running the offense back at Louisiana Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns. And of course, I like him a lot because of how they ran their offense. It was run heavy, it was very ground and pound, and their offensive line was built for it. So I think that's a big reason as to why the Giants got him here as our offensive line coach. But I also like him because, you know, I love the prospect of Elijah Mitchell. I actually had him in my last mock draft, and he's going to give us a good outlook on him as well as other players coming out this year. But speaking directly about the draft, that was the second thing I wanted to talk about a little bit, which was Kevin Abrams and Dave Gettleman's little press conference that they had. And really, there was only one thing I wanted to briefly speak on, and that's of course the topic of trading back. Trading back was a big topic this entire week because of the rumors that came out that said the Giants and Dave Gettleman in particular are heavily considering it. It's been so much, you know, talked about so much, and it's been a rumor that's thrown around so much that I'm beginning to believe it might be a smokescreen. But of course, the funny thing is Gettleman spoke directly on it. He said something along the lines of it's becoming an urban myth that he's not trading back. And, you know, he clarified to the media that he has attempted to trade back, which I think he also told us last year. I'm pretty sure the Giants were looking to trade back in the 2020 draft. I remember that they were going to do so, and then McKinney dropped and they didn't do it. In terms of the first round, they might have been entertaining trading back at 4 as well. Don't quote me on that. Regardless, the thing remains is that it takes 2 teams to make a trade, and like we always say this, but a lot of people always forget it when it comes time to actually do the trade. And that was one of the things Gettleman talked about. He's had deals in place before, but then the other team canceled for whatever reason. It could have been the player they were looking for got picked. It could have been the fact that they just got cold feet and they don't want to do it. But Gettleman is not going to make a trade back for the sake of trading back, and of course I like that a lot, and I respected a lot about Gettleman's philosophy. He even said it. He's not going to get fleeced unless there's a good deal there where he thinks he's getting enough back in return. He's not going to make the trade back. And I mean, it could be another year of us not trading back, and I honestly don't mind it. I've said it before, picking at 11 is just such a sweet spot for the Giants. We are in a really good spot in terms of talent that's going to be there, which is part of the reason I've said I don't really think there's going to be a wrong pick. But that's it for today, guys. Put your thoughts down below. Let me know what you all think. Like, share the video, and subscribe. I'm out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'll catch y'all in the next one.